Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to your Gelsnet immediate post-match reaction from Rangers' 2-0 victory over Ayr United in the last 16 of the Scottish Cup today at Ibrox, brought to you in association with Forest Precision Engineering. My name's Craig Gray, joined tonight, as I have been the last few times, by Mr Scott Bradley. Scott, I think that was one of those typical Rangers at Ibrox Scottish Cup games. Job done, having chips, but you know, let's be honest, it wasn't the best of games, was it?
No, it wasn't. Far from it. It was flat. It was flat as anything. It wasn't like Rangers were. It wasn't like Rangers were bad. It wasn't like Rangers were great. It was just job done. It was a very professional performance.
Yeah, that's good.
And I will say this as well, right? I'll give credit where it's due. I thought Ayr organised themselves very well, and I will give Scott Brown a lot of credit for that. They set up very well, and they did make it quite difficult at times for Rangers to break that defence down. But overall, there really wasn't much to speak about in terms of the Rangers' performance, because it was just a very professional, job done performance. That's what it was.
Aye, that's it. I mean, I think for me the big takeaway, or the big highlight of today's performance, was Oscar Cortez. I thought certainly the first maybe 20 minutes, half an hour, he was really dangerous. He had a couple of shots and then he got his assist for Bournemouth's goal. Do you know what? Good for Borna to get a goal as well. Obviously, that'd
be massive from you in terms of confidence.
Aye.
Like confidence, because we all know like Borna's been the whipping boy of the Rangers support for a good few months, and I feel as though it's a bit unjust. I actually think Borna's a decent player. Do I think he deserves a new contract? No, but do I think some of the criticism that he gets is a bit OTT? It certainly is. But yeah, I think that'll be massive for him in terms of him getting that goal. Of course, I was going to say Ayr United, with the greatest respect, of course, like it's no like something to brag about, but in terms of confidence and mentality wise, for Borna, that would be massive.
Well, that's the thing as well. Look, he's going to be here until at least the end of the season, so you're going to need to try and get him to build up performance as much as you can, because you know Yilmaz has done well, certainly since the turn of the year anyway. Yep. When he's had a wee run of games in the team, but you're going to need a backup left back there as well. You're probably going to need Bournemouth for Europe, even though I think Yilmaz is back in the squad. But yep. I think for me, Cortez was pretty decent.
What about Cantwell? You're getting it stinking in the comments about your criticisms for him.
I know. Well,
what did you make him today?
It was okay. He done alright when it came on. I wouldn't go and say that the performance hyped up when he came on, but I mean that's not his fault. I mean, let's face it, the game was pretty flat all in.
Yeah, it was just that's what it was. Job done. It was obviously a cool Saturday night watching Rangers in the Scottish Cup, clean sheet through the next round, and there's really no real complaints. I thought Silva was alright as well. Yeah, Silva's he's really starting to grow into that Rangers shirt, which is really refreshing to see, and he's going to be obviously silencing all those people who thought, we need another striker. No, I think Silva will be all right, because yet again today he worked so hard, and I think he will come good for us.
Well, he's got 2 goals in 3 games now, and actually see that goal that he scored there, and the goal against Liverpool, I thought there was kind of similarities to it. There were 2 poachers finishes. Now for people turning around and saying that he's not a number 9, he's not an out and out striker, I mean 2 goals in 3 games and those kind of finishes, I mean if that's not an out and out striker, it's no bad, is it?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean I think he's been great. Some of the touches that he shows, you can tell that he's a level above like this league, to be quite honest.
Yeah.
And to be fair, you know, there is a lot of players that come up for England and you know they maybe think, I'm going to excuse the Scottish League, I'm much better than it. And let's face it, technically wise it probably are, but they've maybe not got the mentality to do it, as we've seen with a lot of players in the past. But Fabio Silva, I mean, he seems as if he's got the mentality anyway. He seems to enjoy it up here. He's working his socks off, he's doing things right, but technically as well, the guy's just on a different planet. I mean, you've got guys there at Ayr United, you know, I'm not actually sure if they're a part-time team. Maybe not because they're in the Championship, but you know, it's about the partiest type of full-time teams that you can get in Scotland if you're at that level in the Championship. And you mentioned it earlier, I thought they'd actually done pretty well. They had a couple of half chances. Jamie Murphy coming back to Ibrox, he got a decent reception when he came off, which was good. Somebody that wasn't getting a decent reception was our old friend Willie Collum, the referee.
Scott Brown, was he too pleased in the presser, was he?
No,
he thought Fabio Silva should have been sent off?
He did. I think Scott Brown turned in and said that after he got booked by Willie Collum, I think he missed me, didn't he? I think he probably has missed you, mate. In more ways than one. But I mean, that was a weird one. I mean, look, the goal, obviously the chat was, certainly by Brown, that it was a definite handball by Matondo. Well, last time I checked, Scott, it can only be a handball when it actually touches someone's hand or arm. I didn't see it touch McConville's arm or hand. It got checked by the officials up in the VAR room. Everybody seemed to have no problem with it. And then he was just mouthing off at the touchline because, I said it earlier, I think it was to take the attention away, and I actually felt quite bad for the Ayr United players because they put in a really solid performance. I mean, that's something that they'll be talking about for a long time, going to Ibrox, putting in the sort of graft that they did. They played really well, and to be honest, their managers just kind of stole the attention after them because it's him. So to be honest, the less probably said about him the better. But Fabio Silva, we mentioned him, it's good for him to get that goal. We've obviously got a game coming up midweek against Ross County. The manager in the press conference was asked, chance to go top of the league, and he's first one to say, top of the league, no, I'm the only one saying that.
Yeah.
Game by game for him.
Exactly, I love that from Clement, yeah, I absolutely love that. But I will ask you, before we finish here, John Lundstrom, I think you and I have spoken about this quite a bit. Lundstrom, I think we all know he's going to get a new deal, right? But how many years would you give him? Realistically, I feel like obviously there's a big debate.
What if I was a manager?
If you because there's a big debate going on, right, about if you give him a 3-year deal, right, he might get too comfortable and then he might start down in tools, because right now it's obvious that he's playing for a contract, right? And since Clement has came in, Lundstrom has been tremendous, right? But what I would do now, right, I would give him a 2-year deal, right? None of this 3-4 year deal stuff, right? Because I think he's only like 29. Am I right in saying that?
29 or 30, yeah.
Yeah, so I would give him at least a 2-year deal, right? See, giving a 3-4 year deal, I feel that's a bit too much, where he might start getting complacent, and we did see that, like, obviously, like, right after the Europa League season, we made the final, and then under that season, what was it, last season, sorry, under Gio and Beale, and just things started to just kind of nosedive in terms of his performances. But since Clement has came in, he's been absolutely brilliant. But what would you do? Right, during Clement, how many years are you giving him?
See, to be quite honest, I mean, he will get offered a new deal. I think that's pretty obvious, but I'm still kind of on the fence with it. Not because he's not been great since Clement came in. He has been. He's probably been our best player since Clement came in. But for me, John Lundstrom still needs to do it over a longer period of time. I mean, we need to remember Clement's been in since November, so Lundstrom's been good for October. So Lundstrom's been good for 3-4 months. That's kind of been his limit at Rangers. He's good for 3 or 4 months, and he's bad for a few months, and he's good for 3-4 months. Yeah. To be fair to him, what he's actually doing now, Lundstrom, right? I think his performances before, where he was good for 2 or 3 months, he was putting in like 8s, 9s out of 10 every week. I think, well, not every week, but like one game he was doing a 9, the next it would have been a 4 or a 5. Nowadays he's putting in a solid like 7, 8 out of 10 every single week, which is actually what we've needed for John Lundstrom since he started at Ibrox.
He's been a heartbeat of our midfield, mate. He's been
saying if I was a manager, but I still think we've got 2 more old firms coming up minimum this season. I still think he needs to really get to grips with one of the games. I think looking back in his time at Ibrox, he's only the game I handed against him a couple of years ago where we won. I thought he was brilliant against him. That was him in his element. But I think he wasn't great at Parkhead, last one. But to be fair, he was coming back for injury. So look, I'll give the guy credit. He's been absolutely brilliant. But if I'm the manager, I'd be holding off on a new contract until he's actually proved over like 5, 6, 7 months that he can do it. But realistically, Clement absolutely loves him. He's going to give him a new deal. And you know what? If he does that, I'm happy with that, because it's a decision that the manager's made. He's been brilliant. So. Yeah,
because you and I were talking about this in the presser, right? I talked about obviously the goalkeeping situation, right? Oh, of course, Jack Butland's the number 1, right? He's absolutely brilliant, right? I think Rangers will be very lucky if we're able to keep a hold of Jack Butland. But hey, so like I was very surprised to see Butland start today, purely because I felt as though this was like a game for Robbie McCrory to start in. And if I was Robbie McCrory, right, if I'm not getting a game against Ayr United with the greatest respect in the Scottish Cup at home at Ibrox, I would be very, very disappointed. I would be very frustrated. But what, in terms of the whole Robbie McCrory situation, do you feel as though when it comes to the summer he'll be off?
I think we'll probably try and sell him. I think it's probably going to be the best option for him to leave. Not in loan. I think getting out there permanently is probably the best thing for it. I said to you earlier, I think, look, when you've got a goalkeeper like Jack Butland there, it's very, very, very difficult to break through, right? We understand that, but you need to take your chance when you come in. And Robbie McCrory, I think, for the most part, has taken his chances the last couple of seasons. He's played well in Old Firms, this and the next thing, but we need to be honest, since the turn of the year, he's had a chance against Copenhagen. I thought he was really bad in that game.
But to be fair though,
Dumbarton as well.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but see, towards the end of last season as well though, like obviously there was nothing to play for in terms of the league, but he was obviously in goals, and he only conceded one goal.
No, he was, but that was when Alan McGregor was there. Now Jack Butland's here, so
yeah, I know. I'm not saying Robbie McCrory should start, baby. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, like, in terms of games like this, I would start Robbie McCrory.
The point that I would make to that is that Robbie McCrory hasn't had a good game at Rangers since Jack Butland's been in, because he's played twice and he's been pretty bad in 2 occasions against Copenhagen and Dumbarton. So at the end of the day, he has done well in the past when he's come in on an occasion, but I just don't think he's at the level that we require, and I think we'll probably try and get...
Because I feel like for his sake as well, right, he's about 25, 26, he needs to start playing games like he does. So I can say, so it makes sense in the summer for him to go. It does, right? And obviously it is nice having him as a number 2. Obviously, selfishly, I would love Robbie McCrory to stay at Rangers, right? But in terms of his situation and his career, he probably has to move on. He probably has to move on in the summer. And the thing is, I feel like he could probably get, in my opinion, I don't even think I'm exaggerating saying this, he could probably get a decent gig maybe at English League One or lower level English Championship.
Definitely.
Yeah, because the performances that he's showed, right? Like, no, the games that he's played in, and the performances that he's done, he's been really impressive in certain games. So he's got that in his locker where it's like he could do well elsewhere, especially in England. I think a lower level Championship, League One.
No, I think he could, but I think it's just one of the ones where I think, being realistic, it's probably his time's probably going to come to an end to the summer, which is a shame, but it's one of those things. It's a circle of life, as they say in the Lion King.
Yeah, and that's one thing with Rangers as well, though. But Rangers have always had good goalkeepers. Like, that's one thing what Rangers have always been fortunate with. Like, from Stefan Klaus, Andy Gorham, Alan McGregor, now Jack Butland. Even shout out to West Faulkner as well. He was a solid one as well.
He was alright, he wasn't the worst. There was a few really bad ones back in those low divisions. I think if you're wanting to shout out to proper ones, Ronald Vaterus, there's a blast for the past. He was a proper good backup, but I think we're all really crowded. It's one of those ones where probably a natural end, but he's done his bit anyway, and certainly nobody will forget his performance in that 1-0 game a couple of years ago here at Ibrox, which was pretty good. So fair play to the guy. But I think that's probably time to wrap up here, guys. We've taken up enough of your time as it is already. We'll be back obviously the game next week against Ross County. The opportunity to go top of the league. We can think it as fans, even if the manager doesn't want to think it. As the manager said earlier, lose it dream, don't get the happy endings, but we are fans, so we can do all we want. We'll see you soon, guys. Bye bye.